ये स्वयं उसका फैसला नहीं है, ये दबाव है इसके पीछे।
निगम ने 2016 में ये कहा कि ये हमारी प्रॉपर्टी है। आज 2022 में निगम क्यों मना कर रहा है कि हमारी प्रॉपर्टी नहीं है?
इतनी विधवाएं नहीं दो बच्चे एक बच्चे के, इतना जुल्म तो अंग्रेजों ने भी नहीं कहा करा।
इनका कोर्ट का जो भी फैसला है, जाहिर है हम सब कोर्ट को मानने वाले लोग हैं, कहीं ना कहीं पैरवी में कमी रही है, जिसकी वजह से ये सब कुछ हो रहा है।
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Would you and I be taking the right stand if we endorse illegal encroachment? Can I walk into your house, set up shop at your, set up camp in your lawn on the first day in a tent? The next day I'll put bamboo sticks. The third day I will try and put some pillars and then erect a thing, and then I'll put a small kennel for my pet, and after that start drawing water from your place, and then I'll say 1 month later that this lawn belongs to me, and you get orders from the court and the court says this land belongs to you, so anybody who's sitting on that land or encroaching on that land should be evicted, and I stand there and say what about my rights as a human being, and this land belongs to me, you give me this place or you give me the same amount of patta somewhere else and you give it to me. Ladies and gentlemen, if that happens with one individual over a period of a week, you would call it encroachment. But if it is happening over more than 4,000 families and at least about 78 acres of land which has been illegally occupied over decades and smacks of vote bank politics and appeasement, then what would you do? Would you try, is it okay to ratify and endorse encroachment that has been deemed by the courts? Division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court has deemed this as illegal encroachment. But when political parties come there and play this brazen game of vote bank politics, then what does that smack of? Is it unfair to ask the question that what is a legal matter between the petitioner, between the defendant and a court order, why politicize that? And why blame one particular side of the political ideology or political party for a ruling by the division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court? This matter is now going to be heard by the Honorable Supreme Court. But think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Can people accrue in numbers over a decade or maybe 2 or 3 decades and then claim land that doesn't belong to them? And then should the state that is funded by the taxpayer, that is you and me, look for alternative place or land for these people to settle? Did these people not know that this 2.2 acre stretch of land does not belong to them? This is what the place in question is. In Uttarakhand's Banbhulpura area, it's over this 29 acres of land. Now they're claiming it's 78 acres of land, spread over 2.2 kilometer strip of land in the Banbhulpura area. This area is called Gafur Basti and it is part of the Haldwani railway station. And it covers Gafur Basti, Dholak Basti and Indira Nagar slums. You would ask, how did these slums come about? Did the local authorities connive? Was there political patronage that was given? All of these questions can be asked. But if the land does not belong to you, can you squat there and then claim that since I have already erected places here, be it schools, be it mosques, be it homes, be it pakka ghars, whatever it is, if I have, you can't break this, but the land doesn't belong to you. No, but you can't break this. And if you're going to break this, settle me somewhere else at your cost. That's the argument that's being made. Now, is that a sane argument? Or do you then have to look at the numbers and look at humanity saying 4,000 families are there, nearly 50,000 people are involved, so let's resettle them? Then does this not then pave the way for justifying illegal encroachments as long as you got numbers? So I won't go as an individual into somebody's house, we'll go with 10 people and occupy that place and then claim ownership or say resettle me. Let's look at this. 10 mosques, 12 madrasas and 1 temple have been built on the land. That's the information that comes in. 3 government and 11 accredited private schools have also been built. How are these built is also another question, ladies and gentlemen. What is a court order? The courts, this has been doing the rounds in the court since 2013. It's gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court then advised the Uttarakhand High Court to listen to all parties. Then it is a division bench that's come with the judgment. What have they said? 1 week notice to the occupants, asking them to vacate this land Because on record, out of 4,365 families, 4,356 have been notified. They've been checked. They don't have valid land records, ladies and gentlemen. Intimate by paper, publication, and beat the drums in the area. And act and take forceful possession if the occupants fail to vacate the premises. Then, unauthorized structures to be removed after the expiry of 1 week. Cost of removing unauthorized occupants to be recovered from them. State expected to deploy full police force to meet any contingency. Railway administration to initiate proceedings against erring persons. This is what the courts have come out and very clearly said after listening to every post, every party in and every argument. Now the argument is, nahi, hamare lawyers thode weak the. They were not very good. Supreme Court mein jayenge and they will argue there very, very strongly. Till then we will occupy. Till then we will create. And then what's happening? Political parties, NGOs, everybody trying to make a beeline. And then it's government land or railway land that's been encroached. Not even government land. This is railway land. This doesn't belong to the government. This belongs to railways. Railway land encroached. But why politicize a court order? It's a legal fight. Let it be a legal fight. Why politicize it and why say that the court decision is influenced by one political party? So if the ruling is not in your favor, you can say whatever you want and get away with it. Sunita Vidyarthi of the BJP is with us. Ishkaran Bhandari, lawyer, is with us. Sumit Hridesh, Congress MLA Haldwani, is also with us. Sumit ji, my first question to you is, the petitioners have a point where they come out and say, हम कहाँ जाएंगे? हम लोग इतने साल से यहाँ रह रहे हैं, हम कहाँ जाएंगे? It's a humanitarian cause. But if this is allowed, does this also not justify illegal and forced occupation? Anybody can squat in anybody's land and say after a year or two कि this belongs to me. अगर मेरे को यहाँ से हटा रहे हो तो मेरे को कहीं और ला के तुम जगह दो.
Now, I was listening to you very carefully as you were your opening remarks, and the thing that you have to understand is I've been on news channels all day today, and people who don't know what kind of demography or what kind of land reality is there in my state of Uttarakhand. I'd like to re-say all those things. That almost all the big municipal corporations of Uttarakhand, be it Dehradun, Rudki, Haridwar, Rudrapur, Haldwani, 70% of the land there is Nazul, where people are residing. That's government land, right? And the so-called railway land, the railway in its original affidavit submitted before the Honorable High Court way back, I'm talking about 2007, submitted that it has 29 acres.
Correct.
Now suddenly they draw a line across a piece of paper, and I heard you saying about tax paying. These people have been paying their taxes duly and diligently all throughout these years. They've been paying their house taxes, they've been paying their sewerage taxes, they've been paying their water bills, electricity bills. And the state governments have built schools there, community centers there. So are you trying to tell me that the state governments, in fact, were encroaching upon railway land? The railway has never directly approached the Honorable High Court or any agency saying that this is their land. This was all in addressal to various PILs, where the railway has staked its claim first on 29 acres. Now they suddenly shifted to 78 acres. What we are saying is 2/3 of that land is revenue land, Nazul land, plus where people actually have freeholds in registries. People have bought enemy property through auctions conducted by the government of India, such and such. And this mountain of evidence shall be presented before the Supreme Court.
So, what happened in the Uttarakhand High Court? Was this mountain of evidence, let me ask you, Sumit ji, was this mountain of evidence not presented before the division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court?
No, it was. No, it was duly presented before the High Court, and our lawyers were, they worked very hard out there. But my question and the trouble with the whole situation is that the state government did not step up and stake its claim to its own revenue land. Now, in one phrase or one function or one area, the state government tends to loot lots of applaud that we are doing a division of property with UP. And our CM Pushkar Singh Dhami ji, Everywhere he goes, he wants.
So are you trying to say that there is no railway land involved? Are you trying to say that each and every family present each and every family present there has land ownership records? Because what I have seen and what our research team has found out is that out of 4,365 families, 4,356 families don't have valid land records.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. 70% of all municipal corporations of Uttarakhand, the big towns, to put it in plain terms, be it Dehradun, be it Roorkee, be it Haridwar, be it Rudrapur, or be it Haldwani. 70% of people are residing on Nazul land. They're poor people. They don't have money to get their registries done, get their freeholds done.
Please.
So they have been dwelling like that.
See, please.
There is
a difference, Sumaji. See, I understand. There's a difference between what land belongs to the state and what belongs to railways or what belongs to the armed forces. If this
exactly,
is land,
that's my point. That's my point. That's my next point.
I am purely talking about the land that belongs to the railways that cannot be forcibly occupied. What land belongs to the state, and if there has. Yeah, if there has been, now the railways is claiming 78 acres, earlier in 2005, 2007 they said 29 acres, but what I am also trying to tell you is that from 2007 to 2022, look at the population rise which has happened there. If it was 4,000, 5,000 people at that time, it's gone up to 50,000 people. So did these people not know that this land does not belong to them, and they are actually squatting on land which does not belong to them? Now, let me just open this up. Ishkaran Bhandari, how would you see this? As a legal point of view, and there is a humanitarian point of view, and there is now a huge amount of politicization that's happening. There is a clear appeasement and vote bank game that's being played, where one party is being shown as the villain, the others are seen as sympathizers. There are NGOs that have moved in, opportunists who have come in. There is also street squatting. But I'm sticking to the legal point of view. All these aspects of land records, all these aspects of evidences were placed before the Uttarakhand High Court.
So typical of you.
No, but it's happening, sir. Congress is making a beeline, Samajwadi Party is making a beeline. There is no need to politicize it. You have moved the Supreme Court, let the court hear it. Why do you need to play the kind of political aspect?
We are going to the Supreme Court.
So that's what I'm saying. There are two aspects. One is the legal aspect, one is the political aspect. Politicization is happening.
But the state government has responsibilities.
So let's not deny it.
Sumit ji, I
am stating facts.
The center has responsibilities.
Politicization हुआ है ना? Politicization. रेलवेज की जमीन है सर, रेलवेज की जमीन पे आप कैसे बैठ के क्लेम? ओके, इश्करण भंडारी बोला।
अरे रेलवे की जमीन आपने अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोल दिया, रेलवे की जमीन हाउ कैन यू से?
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नहीं बोला ना, उत्तराखंड हाई कोर्ट ने बोल दिया ना, डिवीजन बेंच ने बोला ना, रेलवेज की जमीन ही बोला ना, जजमेंट में मैं जजमेंट ही पढ़ रहा हूं सर, there is a legal argument, there is a political argument. I am looking at both aspects. Let Ishkaran speak. Yes, Ishkaran ji.
Thank you. Anand, let's come to politics a little later. Let's deal with the law. Let me say a very ordinary statement which in India has become controversial. Railway platforms, public parks, lands of PSU, army, riverbeds are all the property of the nation or the PSU, and you cannot have illegal squatters or illegal occupation on them. Paying electricity bill or paying house tax does not give you the right to the land. That is a settled law. Now let us come to what has happened here, and because politicization is being done here, there was a due hearing before the Honorable High Court. People moved for interim relief also that the structures not be demolished. The High Court considered all of it. The High Court did not give interim relief.
2016 it went to the Supreme Court also. They came to the Supreme Court in the past.
It has had a round in the Supreme Court, and the High Court passed an order, because if it does not pass the order, tomorrow right outside your TV studio, if somebody squats on land on a road and says, no, I have a right here because there are 100 people sitting here, then what happens? Where does the rule of law go? And now I will just speak one line on politics, because it is being made into a minority-majority issue. Faridabad, Aravali Hills, this is 4,500 structures, 10,000 structures. BJP government in power and overwhelmingly a Hindu area of occupation. Supreme Court said nothing doing. All illegal constructions have to be demolished. Nobody said Hindu-Muslim then. So what is okay in Haryana, in Aralia Hills, Khawri village, where 10,000 illegal structures and maybe 1.5 lakh people affected was done on the same principle, but because it's one particular religion in this area, you want to have different laws. Why don't they talk about Haryana, which was BJP government? It had to do. The governments may not want to do it because of vote bank politics, but the courts have taken a very clear view that if we don't stop it, then nothing will remain. No public park, no river bed, no PSU land, nothing will be left
See,
because the politicians are very
there-
happy.
there
to-
is one
and
aspect-
One last point.
Jay.
All those politicians or government officers, because it did not come up overnight, who allowed it to happen, should be prosecuted under criminal laws. Only then this will stop in
I
future.
totally agree that was my other point. If there are municipal corporations who have allowed or ratified and allowed these settlements, if there are governments which have built government schools there to try and give legitimacy to this, all those people need to be pulled up. Because they have created a humanitarian crisis.
May I interject?
They have created a humanitarian crisis.
May I interject?
Yes, Sumit, and then I'll bring in Sunita Vidyarthi. She's not yet spoken. So please.
May I interject?
Yes.
May I interject momentarily?
Yes, Sumit ji, go
Like,
please.
see, I understand where you are coming from. But when I keep telling you what the land reality of Uttarakhand is, these people who basically are poor people, and this area Banbulpura, and the Congress hasn't toed the line of any communal divide or communal issue. We still believe, I am repeating this on national TV, I repeat, and I believe in the due process of law. I do believe that the Supreme Court will hear us fairly, and I do believe the people will get relief. And I do still believe that these people have rights that people are not really showing. Railway is claiming this land, but it's not the railway land. It will be proved
Correct.
by the due process of law.
My
we are
point
waiting
is,
for that. We are working towards that.
What
and
I'm
we
trying to
believe
tell you, Sumit ji, is, and I'm telling our viewers, that by the due process of law, over the process of nearly from 2013 to 2022, nearly about a decade, with redressals in Supreme Court also sought, the railways and the petitioners have been able to show the land records and who this land belongs to. The judgment has come from a two-judge bench of the division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court. That cannot be forgotten. The Supreme Court may say or do whatever they are. But my simple question... No, 1 minute, Sumit ji. Let me just go to Sunita ji now. My simple question...
Supreme authority of law.
1 minute. You cannot discount the judgment of a division bench of an Uttarakhand High Court because it is not convenient to you. My point is... No, sir, 1 minute. Let me just go to...
looking for the anomalies.
Let me just...
I'm looking for the anomalies.
Sumit ji,
legal anomalies.
Sumit ji, I've come to you. Let Sunita ji speak. She's not yet spoken. Sunita ji, मेरा प्रश्न आपसे ये है, ये कहा जा रहा है कि ये बीजेपी की मिली भगत, the open brazen allegation on ground politicizing is कि कोर्ट में जो हुआ है वो बीजेपी की मिली भगत है. That's what has come. They have also said ये बीजेपी की साजिश है क्योंकि वो नहीं चाहते कि हम यहां पर रहें. This is the language that's being spoken by the protesters on ground. Although the Congress spokesperson and one of the petitioners on the show is saying कि इसमें कोई communal politics नहीं है. What's the story? What's the BJP's position? अभी तक तो आप चुप्पी साधे हैं, आप यानी कि उत्तराखंड सरकार. जी.
See, Anand, I'm very surprised to see how the Congress party and people doing drama here, because when they have to take any initiative, they didn't took any step for these people. They are only making chapatis in politics. I am here to these Congress people who are sitting on dharna against the government. This problem is due to them. This Congress had allowed encroachment on railway land, and the railway board wants their land. BJP party not involved in this matter. So encroachment. This encroachment started when Uttarakhand end up with one state in 1974. Indira Hridesh of Legislative Council was formed. Even before that time, this case is open. 3 times Indira is elected as a MLA, but she never did anything for the problem of these people. Now Indira's son Sumit ji, Vidhayak, is also for the constituency. In 1212, Indira Hridesh ji became MLA and Finance Minister, PWD Minister, but she didn't took any step for them. So I'm very surprised these all drama. And by the way, Sumit ji, our government will do also something for these people, but it can't leave like you.
Yeah, we
these
can see what they're
people.
doing, ma'am.
But I would like to say, that this problem have been going on since the time of Congress government. Also, why did Congress not provide land to the people, to these people?
Why? So the allegation is you are the sitting MLA of Haldwani and there is a family legacy.
No, why
May I
did
reply?
Congress
The
not
BJP
provide
spokesperson
land
has
to
said
these
that
people?
your family member Indira ji in the past and you
Can I
have
reply?
allowed this open encroachment which has happened on railway land and you have not resettled them in the past when it was your government. So that's what the BJP is saying. Okay, let her complete. Give her another 30 seconds and then Sumit ji responds.
There are
Sumit ji, give her another 30 seconds then
More
responds.
than 100 years old. I'm just explaining.
Ji.
In 1850, there was a treaty of Singoli between Nepal and the East India Company. This problem is the result of that treaty. Mr. Tray laid the foundation of Haldwani Khas in 1834. Pakka houses have been built by people. Encroachment on railway land. People have committed a big mistake. But now if the decision of the High Court has come, then they will have to accept it. There is a hearing in the Supreme Court on January 5th.
But the point is, Sunita ji, if it is one or two families, then the number is not such a big one. Now it is 50,000 people. There are children, there are women involved. And of course, the dynamic comes. Now what is going to happen? Responsibility is going to come on somebody to resettle them, because ye log kahenge, where will we go? That's what they're going to tell the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has to uphold right to life as much as they have to uphold right to property. Ishkaran Bhandari, quick comment, and then Sumit ji, final word. Yeah.
Anand, when you talk about human rights, that is why I gave.
Can I please?
Anand, just 1 second on human rights. Anand, when you talked about human rights, that's why I gave the example of Faridabad and Aralia. UN human rights body had said 1 lakh people are affected, 10,000 structures are affected. There were also rich people there with farmhouses and marriage halls. They said nothing doing. It has to be demolished if it's on public land. So let us be very clear. It will lead to a human rights crisis if we don't do it, because these sort of things will then mushroom all over the country, ably abetted by politicians as well as the municipal authorities.
So then the simple point is that if the Supreme Court hears this matter, then the politicians, the municipal corporations, the people who allowed these illegal encroachments should all be held criminally culpable, and they must be asked to contribute to at least 30 acres of land anywhere else, which they should purchase, so that these people can go and live on those land. And I'm sure there are many of these netas and many of these people who can afford 30 acres of land. Let them buy that land and resettle these people. Why should the state and the taxpayer take the cost? Why should the land that belongs to railways and the state have to bear this cost? Yes, Sumit ji, final word.
May I interject?
Yes.
Yeah, the honourable spokesperson from the BJP has accused me and my mother. May I give her a little light that you can ask most netas from Uttarakhand BJP, former chief ministers, former MLAs, present MLAs, and when you mention her name, they will say one thing. Her name meant a lot to them because she did a lot for the state and she did a lot for development. We have never looked at vote bank politics. If you look at the voting analysis from 2002 to 2022, you will realize every section of society has voted for us. We haven't looked for minority votes or majority votes as our winning formula.
But the point
it's our due diligence, due honesty. I'm repeating myself. And if there is evidence, find us evidence that somebody
simple point is that you are the sitting MLA. There has been, it's a family legacy, this area. That is the allegation made by the BJP. The responsibility comes from the elected representative, the municipal bodies to ensure that there are no...
What about the governments?
No, I'm not, sir, I'm not taking sides of any political... There is no taking sides of any political party.
No, sir.
Whoever is from the municipal corporation, whoever is the elected representative, whoever are the people who have looked the other way when these encroachments have happened, even including the railway authorities who have not raised this alarm in the past, they all should be held criminally culpable, and they should be made to make available 30 acres of land to resettle these 4,000 families and let them pay for this and let them buy this land from the Uttarakhand state wherever the state accords them. But it should not be at the cost of the taxpayer, and it should not be land that belongs to somebody else, because we in a country cannot afford to legitimize, ratify and patronize illegal encroachments and illegal occupations.
These people have been living there for over 100 years.
Sir, whether I live for 1 day or 1 decade, sir, if the land doesn't belong to me, the land doesn't belong to me, sir. The area doesn't belong to me. There is no justification, because then tomorrow, sir, people will come as 10, 20 people and occupy your land and sit there and say that belongs to me. They will occupy public parks. They will occupy every other place. I thank you. Let's see what the courts have to say. Somewhere the court should say those who looked the other way should pay for the land. These people should be resettled. There is a humanitarian issue, but don't make taxpayers and others pay for the mistakes of a select few. Make them pay for the land, let them buy 30 acres and resettle these 4,000 people and make that an example. Illegal encroachments cannot be justified, ladies and gentlemen. Do we want illegal encroachers to be emboldened to come in and usurp all that is public property, property that belongs to you and me as taxpayers of this country, not of any individual or any political party? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Quickly, moving on to the next. Straightforward, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, it's the Vande Bharat face-off, because now it's not just a stray incident. Is there an ulterior motive and a design? Who is behind it? And why pelt stones at Vikas is the question that we ask. Stay with us.